Boom. Oh, yeah, you got to scoot over a little bit more too, brother.
Yeah, send me the link or something because I still can't find it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour Podcast pregame episode. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm sitting here with Matt. Matt is back with me this week. And of course, we're going to have a pretty fun night tonight. We're interviewing Jimmy Star and, of course, good friend Jerry Hulla from the Share A Pint Podcast. Me and Socrates met him when we went out to Hysteria Brewing Company. And, very good guy, has a podcast kind of similar to ours, not half as much as Vulgar, but he's definitely been wanting to come on and, hook things up with us and, all that shit. So that should be pretty fun. And man, like, it's funny, like Jimmy Star, we're having him during, we're having him during Halloween time, but he has starred like small roles. He's played everything and everything, assassins, police officers, all kinds of shit. So it kind of like he's played many characters and has worn many costumes. So it kind of fits the drift of, the whole Halloween thing.
I wear costumes in bed. And I'm into that weird shit, baby.
Dude, I don't even know how to tell. Like my week this week has been so fucking just off the rails. Like we had to reschedule. For those of you watching live, Soho Johnny will now happen November 2nd, Tuesday, November 2nd at 4 p.m. I am off that day. That's the reschedule of when that is happening. Unfortunately, my wife's grandmother passed away last week, so we had to rearrange a lot of stuff. That's why we're coming to you live tonight with Jimmy Star and not on Sunday. But also along with that, I had an issue where I came home on Monday and I kept on hearing my sub pump go off.
Oh, God. Man.
And I was like, why the hell does that fucking thing keep going off? And I sit there and I go in the fucking bathroom in the area where it's at. And I'm looking at it. And it just keeps on fucking just filling up with water. The water just keeps rising in the pit. And I'm like, this ain't fucking good. Like, this isn't good at all. So, it's rising in the pit. So I'm not quite sure what to do. So pretty much what do? I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do. So I sit down, I take a shit. So I take like a big,
I'm gonna think on this.
Yeah, let me sit on my throne and think about this. So I'm taking like a huge like Stanley steamer, and pretty much what it is I'm sitting there. I go to flush the toilet. Toilet won't flush. All the water just keeps on coming up with all these like, little shit nuggets in the toilet or whatever. Thankfully, it doesn't overflow. It stopped. But then the toilet starts leaking from the bottom. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Something unworldly is happening right now. So
what did you eat?
I mean, that's the thing, but it was doing it with the sub pump, and the sub pump just keeps going off, pumping water. I look out back, there's like a fucking ocean out back from all the water that's popped out. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? So I called Jess. I'm like, look, I need you to come home right now. I got to call a plumber. So I call around, and it's beyond me. If plumbers ever advertise that they're available 24 hours,
bullshit.
It's a bullshit lie, because I called 6 or 7 places and they were like, we can be there at 11 or 12 o'clock tomorrow. I'm not going to have a house 11 or 12 o'clock tomorrow. This laptop, everything in this basement will be underwater.
I'm floating in shit right now.
Yes, there is shit in my toilet and it needs to go somewhere. That's what's happening right now. So, and it just, I don't know what's going on. So finally I get a hold of shout out to Albright's Mechanical. I get a hold of Albright's Mechanical, a local company here in Maryland. And they were like, hey, we can have someone there in 45 minutes. Cool. It's going to be $125 just for them to come out. Whatever. I need this to stop. I don't know what's happening. And also I'm afraid that my sub pump is going to burn out. And and I have one of those old school. Do you have one in your house?
I do have a sub pump.
I have one of those old school ones that's not submerged. It has like, you've seen it. It has like the big motor on it. And those are very old school. And the guy told me that those things can last on the upside of up to like 30 years. And
I think I have one just like that. Mine went up like 10 years ago. I fixed it myself.
And I mean, that's the thing. So that thing keeps running and running and running and running. So the plumber gets here. He starts looking around. And thankfully, he parked out back. He's like, I'm going to park out back. I'm going to come through your back door, load all my stuff there.
Whenever a plumber says he's coming through the back door.
So Jess is upstairs with the dogs. The plumber goes out back and he sees all the water coming out, and it's running down the alley. Now, mind you, our back alley is kind of like this. It kind of peaks like this. So anything that comes out of my sub pump pipe will run that way. It will run to the left. He went out there and he saw water that was going to the right. And I looked at him. I'm like, hey, would that be from us too? And he's like, no. And he looked. The neighbor's sub pump was doing the same exact fucking thing.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, do me a favor. Go knock on all your neighbors' doors right now. See if they're having the same issue.
Oh, shit.
So I'm sitting there. Hey, the one neighbor, the neighbor.
I just took a massive shit.
Yeah, the neighbor on this side, they're like, yes, we're having an issue. The neighbor on that side, yes, we're having an issue. He's like, oh no, he's like, this is a county thing. So he goes over to the manhole cover.
God, and that had to have been so exciting for him.
Oh, and so he goes over to the manhole cover and he can't get the manhole cover up. And he's like, I can tell just by the pressure. He's like, if I lift this up and there's water in here, then this is a county issue. So finally he gets it up. And dude, have you ever seen Friday the 13th part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, at the end, there's like all this water in the subway that consumes him. And at the end, you see him laying there crying, as a little boy. And so it was so like sad. That. Like if you would have climbed down the ladder, you would have been swept away. It would have been like being taken out by the current. Like that's how much water.
Kind of like in like Ghostbusters with the fucking slime.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of slime, it was just fucking shit water.
It's just shit. Just raised fucking turds.
Yeah. Just shooting. And
taking you away.
He's like, you need to make an emergency call to the county now because it's affecting multiple people. So we get a hold of the county. Thankfully, his wife works for the county and she works in the water and sewer division, but she's so high up that if some sort of catastrophic event were to happen and 13 people were to die, the governor and the 13 people underneath of him, she would become the governor. So that's how high in the county she is. But 13 people need to be massacred in order for that to happen. So, we get a hold of the county and we had some issues not too long ago, like after they had done some work outside. So they send these 2 pricks out, and it's the same 2 pricks that came like a week and a half ago that basically blew me off. And they were like, oh, what's going on? And they went to look at the water meter. And he's like, dude, no, why are you out here? You need to go out back. He's like, lift up that sewer thing. They lift up the sewer thing and they looked like, oh, fuck. And it was like some black kid with a hoodie and like some like white bald guy with like these big ass bulging fucking bug eyes. And like, I'm just staring at him. And I told him, I was like, aren't you the same guys that came out like a week and a half ago? And the plumber was cool as shit. He's like, I would go out there and give him shit. So I'm talking to the neighbors and the guys are right there. I'm like, those are the same fucking assholes that came out here a week and a half ago. I'm like, if they would have taken care of this a week and a half ago, this might not be this big of a problem or whatever. So mind you, that happened. So they came by the next day and they're like, hey, the supervisor came out, he gave us a number for claims. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. I ain't paying for this fucking plumber. Like I paid for the plumber, but this wasn't an issue that was mine. Like I could see if it was my plumbing or some shit like that, but I had to take money out of my, and really my sub pump kind of sounds weird now. So that thing probably in the 4.5 hours that this happened, that thing probably went off about 400 times. Like it was insane. I'd never seen anything like it before. So I'm going to claim my sub pump and that fucking bill and be like, fuck you guys. I had to, and not to mention,
so I might have missed it. What was the problem? It was,
it was just, it was a stop. It was like a clog in a pipe somewhere. One of the county pipes. So it was a huge, so it was backing everything up. So everything that was coming up through the ground and into the sub pump or whatever, because there was so much water under the ground, it just kept on filling up in the sub pump or whatever. So dude, I'd never seen it. Yeah. So that's how
probably that dead body that Socrates flushed out.
Yes. It was probably the dead prostitute that Socrates, consistently
the finishing remains.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do real quick is on our pregame episode, we're going to get to the Urban Dictionary term of the day, which is testicular resignation. Testicular resignation is when you write "I quit" on your nutsack with a magic marker and show them to your boss when you quit. When the testicles resign because they get fed up from living next to a dick and an asshole. And, one of the examples is Peter gave his testicular resignation today when he walked into his boss's office and whipped out his nutsack and said, "I quit," written in magic marker, right after he said, "I know you're going to think I'm nuts." And so, and make sure everybody, if you're watching us, make sure you hit subscribe. You will get notified every week whenever we go live. And if you ever have a hard time finding us, it is youtube.com/happyhourtvmd. It is the old YouTube that we had from our Happy Hour TV show that we had a couple of years ago back, maybe 10 years or so ago, but the YouTube was still active. So I used it all for the Happy Hour podcast, or just type in Happy Hour podcast into YouTube or one of our guests and it will pop up with our content.
Right. Cause Facebook failed us. So,
and of course we're going to be live again tomorrow. And our guest is actress Sadie Katz. She has been involved with
Sadie
Wrong Turn
Katz.
6 and Amityville Harvest. So that should be pretty fun talking to her. And, she seems like she's pretty down to earth and all that also. And momentarily, we will be starting our regular weekly episode, which also airs on Spotify, iHeart, Apple, iTunes, wherever you find your podcast. We always do about an hour, maybe a little bit more for that. We always like to give everybody a little bit of extra stuff here on the YouTube, trying to get a little bit more foot traffic to our YouTube. And now that we have the capabilities of doing it, as we said, fuck you, Zuckerberg. We're not going to go live on Facebook anymore, unless, of course, someone comes to us and goes, hey, we'll pay you money to go live on Facebook. Then I'll be like, okay, let's go live on Facebook. So, and of course, tonight I got I'm getting down to the nitty gritty of the leftover shit in my drawer. So I kind of figured you probably wouldn't want any of that. So I grabbed one of these too.
Okay. Well, I've also brought my own.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I brought some Oktoberfest.
Oh, yes. Samuel Adams Oktoberfest.
Yes, sir. So
have you seen Halloween Kills yet?
I have not seen that yet.
Oh my God, dude. I've watched it twice. Actually, my Halloween costume, as revealed last night, is Michael Myers from the new Halloween Kills movie.
Okay.
So yeah. So, and of course, me and my wife are going to Salem with her cousin next week. So that should be fun, going to Salem, Massachusetts, right there where the Salem witch trials and all that shit happened. So she's being a witch, he's being a warlock. We all wanted to do themed costumes, but they couldn't decide on what the fuck they wanted to be. So I was like, fuck it, I'm ordering a Michael Myers costume. So, I did that. So it's actually
right. I heard mixed reviews about it.
Yeah, I think what it is I think what a lot of it, I think a lot of people forget that it's a middle movie. Mm-hmm. So, that's the whole thing, that if people go into it looking like, hey, this is a middle movie, then, they'll understand 100%, hey, this is what it is. Like, this is truly, a middle movie, some are hits, some are misses, but I think at the point when you're able to sit there and pretty much, watch the movie straight through, which that's what they're plotting for, is being able to watch the 1978 one, 2018, this year's movie and next year's movie all in a straight line, so and have it have complete continuity. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the next year's Halloween Ends, and our guest Jimmy Starr is in the room. So I'm going to go ahead and admit him.
I've never understood with those types of movies, like with the slashers and such like that. I know I express it all the time on the show. Whenever I'm not really scared of those guys.
Yeah. No. You watch those movies. If
totally
like me, you watch those movies.
I would destroy them with an art. And I don't understand why no one's ever cut them in half.
Well, and just there's some movies where it has
Michael
happened,
Myers is not going to be able to chase you with no legs. It's just not going to happen.
That's the thing. Now you're putting too much believability in it. You're putting in too much realism. And hey, there's our guest Jimmy Starr. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're doing a little bit of pre-show stuff. We always do the pre-gaming bit that we do before we actually go live at 8:00 and start the audio version for everybody that will be listening at home in about a couple of days. But no, we're currently talking about the new Halloween movie. Have you seen Halloween Kills yet?
I have not seen it yet. No, I haven't.
Yeah, and it's crazy the mixed reviews it's getting. But I think what it is I think a lot of people didn't see the movie that came out in 2018. And so they're going and seeing Halloween Kills, and they're not realizing that's a middle movie. It's a movie that's in the middle of a trilogy. So they're walking into it like, well, this makes no sense. And it's like, well, it's not going to, because they're designing it to where you watch 78, 2018, the one that's out now and the one that comes out next year in a straight line, and it all makes sense. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm doing that version of Michael Myers for Halloween this year. So that should be pretty fun. And actually is that a Michael Myers mask behind you in the window?
Maybe.
I have the Dag Ferk Michael Myers mask.
Okay, that's what it is. I knew it looked familiar.
Yeah, Dag Ferk's a good friend of mine.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what you guys know about me, but I'm a horror movie buff, a big one.
Really?
And,
Awesome. Me and you are going to get along great.
so I'm friends with Danielle Harris, Malcolm McDowell, a whole bunch of people from the actual Halloween franchise and all the different movies. I'm friends with like half of the people that have been in them.
Nice.
Tyler Main, I'm friends with Tyler Main.
We interviewed Tyler Main years ago. We had a TV show called Happy Hour TV, and we went out to a horror convention and interviewed him. We've had Dee Wallace on. We recently had Doug Bradley on not too long ago, and that was awesome. I know his I think his wife does a lot of his stuff, and they're like, he doesn't do a lot of podcasts, but when we sent our stuff out, they're like, yours sounds intriguing to him. He's going to go ahead and do it. I'm like, oh, okay. And that was like months later, like 8 months later, we had heard something back, and I'm like, oh man, like
I used to be a celebrity clothing designer, and so I would make one of a kind cool clothes and go to conventions and give them to the celebrities, and that's how I built my show, because I also have a show. And so I've got like on my wall, I have autographed Doug Bradley comic books, and Clive Barker gave me a whole bunch of stuff. Lance Henriksen, I have all kinds of stuff, and I didn't pay for any of it. Like, it was all given to me. So I have stuff from like every major horror movie, and I have, which they're not here now. They're in my living room. Actually, here for my birthday, one of the things I got last week is like a 3-foot trick or treat.
That's badass. I like that. Dude, I'm admiring everything he has going on in the background. Like, it looks like he has a Batman back there.
Oh yeah, it's all superheroes and horror movies.
Oh, nice.
Movies.
That's good shit, man.
I have literally like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I have a 7-foot Krampus,
Nice.
6-foot Michael Myers. I have an Alien. I have a 4-foot Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I got a couple of. That Batman is 4 feet tall back there.
Okay. Oh man, that is a pretty tall Batman.
Yeah, the Batman's tall. I have this clown. I have like this huge werewolf. Every year for my birthday, I get a new one. And so I have a lot of Saw stuff. I'm friends with a lot of people that were in the Saw movies.
Oh, nice. Nice. Do you have any like the contraptions or anything like that they use?
No, but I do have this. Let's see, where is it? I have this. Let's see. This is my like cabinet of really good shit. I have an Alien title that Lance Henriksen gave me. He makes them, but he doesn't give them away. I mean, he doesn't sell them. He gave it to me. But did you ever see Saw 3?
Yes.
The father has the heart attack about the little girl with the pink pig. This is the pink pig.
Oh, that's fucking
from the movie.
That is sweet. Nice.
I also have Tobin Bell's oxygen mask that he wore.
Oh, nice. What was that? Was that in part 4 or part 5 when he wore the oxygen?
I forgot the oxygen mask, which one it is. I don't even see it. I don't know where it is, but it's in here someplace. I have a lot of stuff that Malcolm McDowell gave me, but my prized possession is the pig. And my Alien tile that Lance Henriksen gave me. He wrote, "Jimmy Starr, you're the coolest fucker I ever met," on the back of it. And I freaking like love it.
That's good shit. And Jimmy, what are you looking at time wise? Because normally we do an hour for the audio version, but if you want to hang out a little bit afterwards, we always do like extended stuff on YouTube. It depends on what kind of time you have, man.
Depends on my husband.
Okay.
He comes banging or not, because he was like, "You have a thing now? I want to go eat." And I was like, "Nah, I gotta have at least an hour." So you got me for at least an hour.
That's fine, man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the opening for the regular show. Jerry will be joining us in a little bit. He's coming back from a football game with his nephew, so he'll be hopping in pretty soon. He's going to be our guest co-host.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour Podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. Matt's back with me this week. We are here with our featured guest, Jimmy Starr. And if you see anything on our YouTube or you joined us live on our YouTube, I am admiring everything that's behind Jimmy Starr. And he's a huge horror buff. He has one of the masks from Halloween when Michael Myers was a kid, one of the clown masks. He showed us all kinds of cool stuff. He has the pink pig from Saw 3, which is absolutely insane. And Jimmy, you yourself, man, this fits into the Halloween theme great. We always like to have Halloween themed guests. You have all that cool shit in the background, but also you've been in over 150 movie roles. Like that's insane. You've worn many costumes, you've been many characters. How exactly like did you get enrolled in all that? And like just looking at your IMDb, it's just like boom, 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 boom.
You know what? So I started working in Florida when I was young, and most of the time I'm an extra in like don't make it seem like on indie films I get to talk, but in the really big films I'm an extra. I had an agent down in Florida, and anytime something came up, they would let me do it, and I was self-employed, so I could do it whenever I wanted to. So like I would go and get in all the milk since I was in high school. Like actually, I think junior high school I did some when I was in junior high school, and so I went and did a whole bunch of them. I never took it seriously. For me, it was a way to meet people because I wanted to be a clothing designer. And I would go there so I could meet people, and try and get famous people to wear my clothes so I could sell my clothes. I had 3 stores in Fort Lauderdale back in the like 90s, and they did really good. And I did the costume design for Too Fast, Too Furious. And so I just kind of like started like doing things like that. And then I just started, being in indie movies. And I like my first like 9 auditions, I got the roles in like the first 9 auditions that I was in. And so I just started doing it. I don't really do it a whole lot as much now because I'm producing. And you make a lot more money as a producer than you do as an actor. So now I'm producing. I have a huge horror film that we're going to start shooting in December that I'm super, really, it's an indie low budget film, but it's got a really great, horror film that I'm super excited about. And actually I have 2, and I have another one that'll start at the beginning of the year. That's a bigger budget. And so I really like producing better. I'm really not a good actor, but because I'm also a publicist and I'm big in social media.
Yes.
So people put me in their films because they know I'll talk about it. And if I talk about it, then, like they get more press. And I have about 500,000 followers in social media. And my show, the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, we just broke 1 billion downloads.
Nice. That's good stuff. Yeah. And of course, you and Aline Shapiro, you guys are providing us with some of our guests. Share and she's been on, and we're the type of people we're just like, hey, we just want to sit down and bullshit with people, have some drinks, have fun, and I mean, man, is there anything extra wise that you have not played? Like looking through your IMDb.
Well, I like superhero movies and horror movies, so that's like my favorite. Thing
like,
to eat.
You've been a police officer, you've been an inmate, you've been a lawyer, a tourist, a reporter, like just all kinds of shit, man. Like
like everything. When I lived in Florida, they had this TV show called Burn Notice, and I was like on it all the time. Like you would see me in it all the time. And lots of times I would be like a featured because I was on it so many times. I would be like a featured, extra for sure. You would see me. I wouldn't be just in the background. You would like see me. And, it's a great way to meet people. And I really did it as a business move because you go there and other extras on the film, especially if it's a film with a lot of extras, there are tons of like directors there, indie directors and indie filmmakers and stuff. And they're looking for other people to be in their movies. So I would be, I'm the gay guy. So I would always meet with all the hot girls. They would never feel bad. And all the guys would be like, what do you do? How is it that you just can sit in a whole group of hot girls? And I was like, I'm a gay guy. I'm not trying to hit on them. So they don't care. And so everybody would want to hang out with me. And I would like meet people and they'd say, I have this role coming up, or I have this indie film I'm doing. Would you like to be in it? And that's how I got all the indie film roles. And I have a ton of indie film roles. But not because I'm really a good actor. I'm really not that good, but I'm a very good promoter. I'm a very good promoter. I know how to like get stuff out there, and I'm basically just a friendly guy, and I like to do what you guys like to do. First of all, I'm a fan, so if it's a horror movie or a superhero movie, I'm all about it. Like I collect all the action figures, and also the Fast and Furious franchise. I like that a lot because I did the costume design for the second one. So I really enjoy it.
Now, with the movie stuff, was there any like being an extra or being a stand-in for any certain movie that kind of just blew you away? Like you were just kind of like, oh man, this is so fucking cool. Like I get to be a part of, this film. Is there anything that kind of did that for you, over time?
You know what? I had a really good time on this Too Fast, Too Furious set because I was the costume designer and I was also an extra in it. And I got to hang out with Paul Walker, and I know that one didn't have Vin Diesel in it, but it was really like fun. And I was there for many days doing stuff, with them all. And a lot of the clothes that you see some of the people wearing are my designs that I actually designed, that were from my clothing store. And so for me, that was like a lot of fun. I
Awesome.
think I enjoyed that the best. And I also I'm in like anything that was shot in Florida. I was in it. Almost every single, movie.
Too Fast, Too Furious was shot in Florida, so yeah.
Oh,
it
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, we shot in South Florida, and I mean, I was in I think it's The Bodyguard. Yeah, I was in The Bodyguard, with Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner, and that was like fun.
That was such a great movie. Like, yeah, I mean, that's one of those movies that's just memorable, just right offhand. And real quick, we have to introduce our special guest co-host, Jerry from the Share A Pint Podcast. We met Jerry at Hysteria Brewing Company when we went out there and featured those guys. How you doing, Jerry?
Doing well, gentlemen. I
Awesome.
apologize for cutting in here late. Ain't technology grand. Everything's working all day long, and 5 minutes before the show starts, everything blows up.
That's the way it works. And you're coming in just a little bit low. So,
well,
and Jimmy, of course, you said you did the fashion design stuff. So with the fashion design, what do you think was do you have like any particular piece of clothing or anything fashion design wise for any movie or anything you've done that is your favorite?
Yeah, I have these like really cool pants. They're kind of Rastafarian looking, in their jeans that have all these like things that hang down from them, like that hang down from, but then they have another pair of pants underneath them that all these things hang, and it says "fuck" all over them. It was featured in Women's Wear Daily and all kinds of magazines, and I dressed all kinds of cool people. Elton John, shopped in my store, and Madonna shopped in my store, and Aerosmith shopped in the store, and I've dressed every major horror. If you want to talk about horror people, I've dressed every major horror movie star. Danielle Harris, and I love the horror. Doug Bradley, Simon Bamford, Barbara Wild, is that her name? Yes. Barbie Wild. Yes. The guy who played Chatterer, and I don't know, all the Hellraiser people, like Norman Reedus has been in my clothes. I'm looking around. Brooke McCarter from The Lost Boys was one of the first people I dressed. Lost Boys is like my favorite movie. I'm still friends with Corey Feldman, but I was really good friends with Corey Haim, and I was friends with Brooke McCarter and Billy Wirth and all of them. Lance Henriksen, let me see, Malcolm McDowell. I'm like trying to look and see. I don't have that many pictures around, but I've dressed every major horror movie guy basically that there is. And I love it a lot. I even dressed the guy who played the little kid in The Omen, in the first Omen. Now I forgot his name.
Oh, nice.
But I've been blessed. I've been super fortunate, to actually be able to support myself, doing the things that I like to do. And, even though I've had some rough times with it all, I'm happy that I don't have like a regular person job. I've been very fortunate, and I'm not a millionaire, but at least I go to work every day doing the things that I really like to do, as opposed to like punching a clock of some job that I hate. So I just feel very blessed and fortunate.
Yeah, you're living the dream, dude. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it's, I'm a publicist. It's feast or famine. Sometimes you do really good, and sometimes you don't do as good. But I always have fun. I'm always on movie sets. I think I go to like 4 or 5 red carpet events a month in LA. I live in Palm Springs, so we have to drive to LA. It's like 100 miles, but we go all the time, to charity events and red carpet events, and that's how I get to meet. That's how I get guests for my show too. I get to go to these events, and then I meet the famous people. Like this last week, we already had him on our show, but I never had met him. I had only met him like I'm meeting you guys now, but like I went to an event with Doug Jones on Saturday. I don't know if you know who Doug Jones is, but like he's like Abe Sapien and Hellboy, and
yeah, for sure.
He's in everything. He was the shape in The Shape of the Water. He's in everything, And so to actually get to meet him in person, we also met Diane Franklin and Jeremy London, and they've all been on my show, but I've never actually met them. So it's fun to get to go meet them and hang out and have a good time with all of them.
And Jerry, what do you got going on, man? You got anything for Jimmy? Anything right offhand?
Well, I was just curious. I mean, when I went through and looked at what he was doing, your resume is unbelievable. To have put as much work in as long as you have. I think my initial question was, what do you attribute your longevity in this business to, and your ability to just continuously land roles?
You know what? It has to do a lot with not getting discouraged, because you get a lot of no's. But I also think that I do a bunch of different things. Like I said, I produce films. I'm a publicist. I'm a talk show host, and I'm a and I'm an actor, and they all feed off of each other, and one helps the other. And so if I don't have one thing going on, I've got something else going on. So I've always got my hand in a lot of projects. Like I think I'm producing 9 films right now.
Holy shit.
That are in different stages of development, because you always got to have stuff going, because nobody's going to come to you. Nobody knocks on the door. It's not like you're, I don't know. I mean, not like I'm George Clooney or something. Nobody comes knocking on my door. I go knocking. I'm a door pounder. I pound on the door every single day. I'm hustling all the time, because that's the only way you're ever going to get anywhere. Nobody's ever going to come to you. And so I think the whole thing is to never give up and just continue working, as much as you can, and reach out there. I'm a networker. I network in social media. I network when I go to all these events. Like I've got, tomorrow we're doing a red carpet for Clown Motel 2, which is a movie that I have a very small role in, but my husband's got a big role in it. And we're going to a red carpet premiere at some kind of weird, Lake Elsinore with I forgot what it's called, but whatever it is, it's a red carpet premiere, and it's a horror, area horror event. And I'll meet everybody, and I'll make sure I hang out with everybody, and I'll meet everybody. And that's just what you got to do. And I'm nice to everybody,
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in this industry that aren't nice, and the ones that aren't nice, everybody knows the ones that aren't nice. And if you're not nice, nobody wants to have anything to do, because let's face it, it's a job. You're an actor. Everybody thinks it's glamorous. It's not glamorous, especially as an extra. If you're an extra in something, you sit around for freaking 10 hours to go and have them film you for 20 minutes. It's not glamorous at all. Going to a red carpet is glamorous, but none of the other stuff is glamorous about it at all. You have to raise money, which is very hard to do. You have to find the cast, which is hard to do. Sometimes you can't raise the money if you don't have the right cast. And, and I'm very good with, let's call them like the B+ casts. But I don't hang out with like any A-listers. I don't know Charlize Theron. I don't know any A-listers, that can help me get things funded. And the B-listers a lot of times can't get you funded. So it's a lot of work. It's fun if you like it, and as long as you don't let the rejection tear you down, because there's a lot of it.
Yeah, I think me and you with that have a lot of that in common, because, Matt can even contest. I'm a hustler. Like everything with this podcast, like, we're not huge. We're not pulling huge numbers, but I'm always hustling. I'm always getting it out there. I'm always trying to make new contacts. I mean, I use your people a lot on the show, with the networking. And plus I did pro wrestling. It's like, how many times in pro wrestling I've heard no, or how many times in the podcast I heard no. And I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever, just move on to the next person, move on to the next thing. And then I do eBay sales, plus my personal life, my regular job, all that. I have so much shit going on. So I understand. And, it's more so being humble. You need to stay humble, because that's the thing. It's like, I've been blessed with the opportunity of being able to go out and perform in front of people when I did pro wrestling for 20 years, being able to wrestle Jake the Snake Roberts, guys like that. And,
Al Burke? Do you know Al Burke?
Al Burke?
Yeah.
Is that his real name or his wrestling name?
His wrestling name was Mr. Wonderful or something, hang on, I have to look it up. He's old, so you wouldn't have wrestled him because he would be too old, but he's a good friend of mine. I see him all the time, and he's also now he's a movie star. He's in like everything. If you ever saw, did you ever see the movie, The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler?
Yes.
At the end of the movie, they're on the plane, and like somebody says something to Billy Idol, and this guy jumps up and says, you don't talk to Billy Idol that way. Or that's Al Burke.
Oh yeah, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he's a really cool guy. Let me see what his name. Mr. Outrageous, not Mr. Wonderful. I think it's
Outrageous. Okay. I might not have ever crossed paths with him, especially knowing the fact that you said he's a little bit of an older guy. So
yeah, he's probably like in his 60s or something.
Yeah,
so too old, but I've actually I know Al Snow. I don't know. There's a couple of wrestlers that I know.
Yeah, Al Snow is actually really cool. We had him on a podcast. I did a few seminars with Al Snow when I was, younger, learn a lot of stuff from him. And it's just a unique business. And that's why, with this show, we don't really I don't really write a lot of stuff down. I'm just kind of like, fuck it, calling on the fly. And calling on the fly is a huge wrestling term. It's like, just get out there, someone gets lost. Okay, put on a headlock. Oh, well, I don't know what to do. Okay, we're going to do this. And that's the thing. And I got really good with being able to navigate through stuff. Like sometimes the shows will go off rails and I'm just kind of like, all right, now we need to bring it back. Right here. This is where, we need to go. This is where we need to get to. And, it's just, it's fun. And it able to allow me to be able to come on and talk to you, talk to Jerry, talk to whoever, just like that, because I'm used to just talking in front of people and I'm very animated. And, it's just, that's how I am. It's given me a lot. It's given me pretty much everything I have. My wife.
How big are you? Like how tall are you?
I'm 6'1". So right now I'm 6'1", 260. So, but when I was in my prime, I was probably about when I did my Hall of Fame show.
6'6" in your
Yeah.
prime. No,
No, when I did my Hall of Fame show, I was 220, which I slimmed down enough. And like I've gained some weight since I haven't really wrestled a lot. But when I did the Hall of Fame show a couple of years ago, I was like, I don't want to go back and look like some schlub who hasn't wrestled in like 5 years.
Right.
You know, I want to go back and look like a wrestler again. So I got into amazing shape, and to actually right here, the local company that I was with right here, that's the Hall of Fame award that I got.
Congratulations. I think that's freaking awesome.
You know, and I mean, that's the thing. And eventually, like a lot of indie guys, like, you know, independent wrestling, a lot of indie guys don't really have like a lot of stuff. Like WWE, they give all their guys belts and all that. So over time, when I get money, I want to get replicas of all the titles I've won and put them along my walls in the basement. I got to get a lot more of my wrestling stuff up. It's all packed away somewhere. And, you know, but it's a unique business to be in. I had a small part in the Wrestler movie with Mickey Rourke. And unfortunately, it didn't make the final cut of the movie. It got cut. But it was weird for me being there because we were there for 13 hours. And I'm just used to, you know, showing up at the show. Okay, this is what you're doing. This guy's going over. This guy's not. This is the length of your match. Your match is 7 minutes. Go out there, do it, blah, blah, blah. You know, let's say if it's me and Al Snow. Al Snow is going to win. This is how it's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. We need to figure out the rest. Meanwhile, there, we see them doing the same stuff over and over.
Yeah, over and over and over. Yeah, it's not.
Holy shit, how do people do this? Like, I'm not used to it. Like, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's
Jerry. I have a Jerry, because, you know, you look kind of like a young Chris Cooper. Do you know who Chris Cooper is? Do people tell you that all the time? Oh, Chris Cooper. He's like the dad in American Beauty who likes always beating up the Wes Bentley, the son. He's a huge actor, Academy Award nominated actor. If you ever saw American Beauty, I forgot what else he's in right off the bat, but he's like a great character actor, and he's got a couple Academy Award nominations. But you look like a young Chris Cooper. So it's a cool thing because he's a cool thing. I don't know if Jerry can hear us or not. I don't hear him saying anything.
Nice.
No, he's looking it up. Maybe he's looking it up to see who Chris Cooper is.
Might be. No, I was thinking what you were saying earlier, Jimmy, that was impressive about just how hard you had to work and hustling, because I think it's good for people to hear how hard work pays off in an industry like that you're in, particularly when, like I said, when you look at your body of work, I'm like, dude, is there a superhero movie that he's not in? Is there a science fiction movie or something that he's not in? I'm like, is one superhero movie getting you a cameo in like every superhero movie? I'm just like, it's awesome. You know, and to hear that you're hustling and making that happen as hard as you're working, that's good to hear, man.
I have my own like Marvel Wikipedia page.
Nice.
And I also, so on my own Wikipedia, I was looking at it one day, and I was looking at my Wikipedia. It has all kinds of like problems because I don't know how to do it. I don't even know who made it. Somebody else has to make it, you know. Yeah. But there's an article on Quora. I don't know if you guys, Quora, I guess, is like I don't know. Quora is like a thing where people like ask questions and get them answered, but it's a really huge website. It's ranked really high. So like I'm listed on Quora as number 4 of all actors being in the most billion-dollar movies ever. And in there they wrote, you know, Jimmy Star, you probably don't even know who he is. You know, the guy's been acting forever. So with all the film credits he's in, he must get a few billion, dollar movies in there. But I'm number 4 behind like Samuel Jackson as the actor in the most billion-dollar movie.
wow.
As an extra, though, they get paid millions of dollars, and I get paid like $200 a day or something.
Oh, no.
You know what, though? If you do enough of that, though, like $200 here, $200 there, like I tell people all the time, like, I'm all about, with eBay stuff, I'm out every day going out looking for more stuff to flip on eBay. Or when I would wrestle, I would try to wrestle Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if I needed to. And if I made like $100, it's like, okay, I just wrestled 4 shows. That's $400 times that by 4, 4 weekends in a month, you're bringing in, a little bit of money that you want to expect. So yeah, I mean, it definitely adds up. And plus, you're getting a little bit of fire behind your name. And of course, you have your own show, the Jimmy Star Show. When did you decide that you wanted to do that, and how did that come to fruition?
I'm one of the first podcasts in existence, so we're going on our 15th year.
Oh,
it didn't even have a name for it when I started. There was no such thing as a podcast when I started. And what happened was Y100, which is a big radio station down in South Florida, which worked with Z100. The guys who hosted Y100 were Z100 in New York also, and they knew about my clothing stores in South Florida, and I had done a bunch of stuff at Y100 with like Nelly and I don't know, different people, and they contacted me and said they were doing, this is back when the first Queer Eye for the Straight Guy came on, which is like a long time ago. They said, we're looking for the fashion guy to be the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Would you like the radio version? Would you like to do it? And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So I was on the radio every day for like 3 months. And I was having a blast. And when I got done with it, I was like, this is really fun. And I was on Craigslist. I was on Craigslist and I saw an internet radio station looking for an intern. And I responded, I said, hey, I don't really want to be an intern. I'd like to host a show, but I don't, and I said, I've never done it before, but I said, I have a lot of famous friends. I think I could have really good guests. And my first guest was like Joya Bruno from Expose, which is like a girl group from the 90s and 80s and 90s. And, before Destiny's Child, I think they were like the most successful girl group. They had a ton, like 8 #1 hits or something. And so I did, and they said, why don't we try it? So I went on and I had 3 other people, and we started out as a horror show primarily, like bringing on every horror person. And we were on for like 3 weeks. We had a 50-minute show and we were on for 3 weeks. And at the end of our 3rd week, the radio station guy said, so many people are listening to this. Would you like to do a 2-hour show instead? And I said, absolutely. And so I've been an hour and 50-minute show. I've been, ever since then. And when I met my husband now, we've been together 10 years. We changed the format to do video, and instead of just doing horror, because he's not a huge horror fan, even though he's in a ton of horror movies, he makes a ton of them, but he was like, let's just make it more of a pop culture show.
Yeah.
And then we just started adding everybody, singers, producers, directors, author, anybody, as long as I thought they were interesting and they would draw like a crowd. And then we bring on clients from my PR company, but we've had, an amazing bunch of, people on the show.
That's good stuff, man. Congratulations. I mean, and that just goes to show, as you said earlier, and as Jerry said, hard work does pay off.
Yeah.
You got to put in the grind. You just got to get down in the trenches and just grind your way to it.
I'm not sure what you want me to change.
Sorry, my computer's talking to me. They heard something you said and started talking to me. Here's what I did, something that nobody else used to do. Now people are doing it. Like you made a beautiful graphic that I'm coming on the show, but people didn't used to do that. I used to do a press release for every guest. I would have 2 guests every show. I used a free press service. I would make a graphic, do a press release, what the person was out, all about and stuff, and put it out every week, and then send a thank you letter at the end of every show after they came on. And people like loved it. And nobody knew who I was then. Now people know who I was, but I was just starting in social media. Nobody really knew who I was. And when people would say yes, I would be so like excited. Like my first really big music star besides Expose was Gary Wright, Dreamweaver Gary Wright, which you guys are too young to maybe even know who that is. But he had just gotten off the who's the Beatles? Who's the drummer guy from the Beatles?
Ringo Starr.
Yeah, he just gotten off the Ringo Starr like all-star tour, and Gary Wright has a song, Dreamweaver. It's like been in like thousands of movies. It's a huge hit, and he came on the show. He was on like my 5th guest or something, and people were like, "How in the hell did you get Dreamweaver?" Gary Wright, like you're like a nobody show. Nobody's even ever heard of you. And like, how'd you get it? And then when The Walking Dead came out, I had the whole cast of The Walking Dead before The Talking Dead came out. I had them before anybody did. As a matter of fact, I think it's my opinion that The Talking Dead came out of the fact that I had a show that millions of people like tuned into, and I had everybody. I had Michael Rooker, I had Norman Reedus, I had everybody, when it first came out, before it had blown up. I knew it was going to blow up and I wanted to get the people on. And I think that the other thing that's super important is to never give up. Like, I always loved Clifton Collins Jr. as an actor. And I bet you that I tweeted to him for 5 years before he finally acknowledged it and came on the show. And he was terrific, but other people get mad. I don't get mad if people don't respond, they don't respond, and you reach out and eventually you get big enough that they will come on the show and you'll get the people you want. And I only have a handful of, people that I really, really want that I haven't had. And I don't even think they should be that hard to get, but I haven't been able to get them. And then I would like to go into I would like to eventually get to the point, where I can go up to the next level then and get the A minus, the AA minus people. Right now I get all the BB plus people, but you know what? I'm happy because those are the people that I like. Yeah. I started the show originally to be like, so I could bring on all the 80s people that I liked so much.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I mean, like us, like we did ours. We're like, let's just have people on, talk, laugh about the corny ass shit that me and him laugh about all the
Yeah.
time, and just like pretty much, I'm always like, let's talk about the stuff that if we were to go to the bar with you and we were to start talking, this is the kind of shit I'd be asking. I'd be like, hey, what? And speaking of that, let's get into, of course. Tonight, I am drinking Sunburst, which I've been dread. This has been in my vegetable bin for God knows how long, and I've been dreading drinking this. But we're getting down to the nitty gritty of what we have left. But it's Sunburst by Heavy Seas Beer. So Heavy Seas has a lot of good stuff. I am not a huge fan of Sunburst, but I didn't want it to go to waste, so I am drinking myself some Sunburst. Of course, Matt, what do you got going on over here?
I'm drinking Lord Baltimore, which is actually from Key Brewing Company
right here in Baltimore,
which is local.
Heavy, I believe Heavy Seas is here as well.
Yep, they're both Baltimore breweries.
And what do you got going on, Jerry? I saw you had something.
I'm drinking Beyond the Gnome World. It's a GABF, which is Great American Beer Fest, gold medal winning beer from Silver Branch down in Silver Spring, Maryland. So it's really nice saisons, like 4.5%. You can find it at the ballpark for the Washington Nationals, and crush a bunch of these while you're drinking, watching baseball. It's great.
And what's your go-to, Jimmy?
I'm drinking orange soda in my skull glass that I got for my birthday.
Nice.
And what we're gonna do is our featured shot actually comes from one of Jimmy's friends, Sherry Nelson.
I love Sherry Nelson.
And she heard that we had never tried the Metallica whiskey, so she went ahead and she had it sent out to us. So we're gonna go ahead and do our featured shot. So shout out to Black and Whiskey and shout out to Metallica. Make sure you pick up their album that's out now, and all the various artists that have done renditions of all the popular Metallica songs. It's absolutely crazy.
Don't Tread on Me. That is like the best song.
The Ghost song is weird. I don't like the song that Ghost did. I forgot what it was called, but it wasn't one of their main songs. And I'm just kind of like, oh man, like that doesn't. So
are you heavy metal fans then, all you guys?
I am.
Oh yeah, rock heavy metal. We had Wes Scantlin from Puddle of Mud. We had him on the show, so he was pretty fun. He was a good time, telling us about all of his follies that he's gotten into, when he used to get into trouble and all that fun stuff. So Matt, here we go. Gonna put a little bit of fuel in our.
Cheers, you guys! Cheers! I love musicians. I know somebody from Puddle of Mud, Paul somebody. I forgot. But he's been on my show many years ago, and we also met him at a convention. I used to go to those conventions a lot to meet the horror movie stars, because horror movies are my favorite. Do you guys have a favorite horror movie?
Horror, of course. Mine is Friday the 13th. I grew up, I tell the story numerous times of my mom when I was a kid. She used to be afraid to watch the horror movies by herself, so she would make me as a child watch them with her. And then when I would get upset and cry, she would laugh hysterically. And they also bought me a My Buddy doll, if you remember those.
Yeah.
When it came out, and my mom and dad tortured me to no end with that fucking doll. And I would throw it in the trash, throw it in the dumpster, and it would always end up back in my room some way, somehow. And I was convinced that thing was going to murder me in my sleep. So yeah, it's definitely Friday the 13th. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, all the slashers of the generation of when I was growing up. I love dearly. I want to get a whole piece on.
I don't have it in here, but I have a 7-foot Jason from Friday the 13th. That actually, if you plug it in, he swings the machete and it goes makes the noise and stuff. And I just had on my show 2 weeks ago, Laura Park Lincoln, who's the star of Friday the 13th, the 7th, number 7. She's the telekinetic one.
Yeah,
which was a lot of fun. And I was really good friends with Steve Dash before he passed away.
Yeah. Steve seemed like I got right before he died, I got that pop vinyl from Part 2 that I wanted to have him sign at a convention, and then he passed away. We had CJ Graham on the show. CJ was cool.
Yes.
That was cool for me because for me,
really
Part
cool
6
really
all
cool.
around was my favorite movie. It was just layout wise, the look of Jason, the deaths, all of that was just my favorite all around movie. So when we were able to get CJ, I was like, that's really cool.
He's a pretty intimidating guy.
Oh yeah.
He's super nice. He's a super nice guy. I've met him, and back when I did my show originally, I did it in West Palm Beach, and that's where Steve Dash lives. So he actually came in the studio and sat with us in the studio and did it. It was a lot of fun. But horror is definitely my favorite of all, and I do like all the slashers. I think I don't know. I like the Hellraiser movies a lot, maybe because I'm friends with all the people in it. But I like pretty much like everything horror, even like the really shitty horror movies that I'm in. You know,
Yeah.
I like them. I think they're fun. They're fun to watch.
A lot of what is it? Indie horror movies are pretty good. Like some of the
Mhm.
Friday the 13th indie
Yes.
movies.
I
pretty
I
good.
actually prefer like indie
Yeah.
horror movies myself, but I don't have a favorite or anything because I'm not super into horror movies. But
Yeah.
if I had to choose, I would choose more of an indie type.
So today, 13 Fanboy came out, and 13 Fanboy is done by Deborah Voorhees, and Deborah Voorhees wrote it, and it's basically like someone who like thinks that Jason Voorhees is the greatest, goes around killing all the people who were in the Friday the 13th movies,
Yeah.
you know, like Comic-Cons and stuff like that. And it's got CJ's in it. CJ Graham's in it.
Oh, nice.
Star
Nice.
Park Lincoln is in it. Who's actually hang on, I can
Well, it's funny because CJ kind of, but also him and Steve Dash did Friday the 13th Vengeance, the indie movie.
yes.
Cool seeing them in a non-Jason role, but kind of reprise, you know, being actors somewhat in the franchise, because we all know that whole legal bullshit that was going on with that franchise. That's
terrible.
You know, of all those movies. And hopefully Victor Miller, like I heard he doesn't really like the adult Jason thing, but if he does a movie now that he has the rights without the adult Jason, I think it's going to bomb, because everybody knows they don't think of Pamela Voorhees or Potato Sack Jason. They think of Hockey Mask Jason,
Right.
that, you know, has made the franchise what it is today.
Have you guys had Ari Lehman on the show?
No, but I do want to reach out to him because he was the one who came out of the water in the first
At
one.
the end of the first Jason. And in 13 Fanboy, they've got Dee Wallace, Kane Hodder, Corey Feldman, CJ's in it, Judy Aronson. I don't know who some of these, Adrian King. So I think it's going to be a fun movie. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'll definitely watch it.
We had her on. She was talking about a project. She didn't
Yeah.
really say what
I think it
but
was
that's
that.
probably
Yeah,
what she was
because we had her.
referring
It
to.
was last year when she was
Mhm.
talking about it, and that was it. And what we're going to do real quick is we're going to get into our Ode to Humanity segment. Jerry,
Okay.
I'm not sure if you were here for that when we did it at Hysteria, but our games have grown. We used to do 5-second rule, but 5-second rule is actually pretty easy. So now I'm going to just call it hot potato, which I'm
potato.
going to throw out a category and say, name 3 things. What would you do in this situation? So pretty much we're going to start it off very easy, Jimmy, and it's going to be name 3 Marvel actors.
Should I do that?
Oh, okay. That's easy. Actually, it's hard when you put somebody on the spot.
He names himself. That doesn't count.
Samuel Jackson, Chris. Let's see. Oh shit. I reach out to all of them all the time because I'm trying to get them on my show. Isn't that
That's the
terrible?
thing, when you're put on a spot, it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, what?
I love that too. Guys
Yeah.
freeze all the time. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh shit! I can't even think of fucking one now. Okay, hold on. Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. Gwyneth Paltrow. She's in them.
There you
That
go.
works.
And what about you, Jerry? 3 Marvel actors.
Jeremy Renner. Let's go with him. We'll go with. I guess I could use Jimmy because seriously, I mean, he's in all those movies. It counts, you know. It counts. And I don't know if Jimmy actually pulled Chris Evans. I think he started to pull the trigger on him and backed off. So I'm going to snake in there and steal that guy as
that's a
well.
good one, Chris Evans. That's a good one. All right, now I got that. I got it.
What about you, Matt? 3 Marvel actors.
Oh, jeez. Chris Pratt.
Okay.
Oh,
That's actually the one I was thinking of. Was Chris
Yeah.
Pratt?
gotcha.
Really, I don't know. I guess I'd lose. I'm thinking
All
of
right.
Chris Pratt.
I-
He's the only
I-
one's pretty much-
I have right off my
Batista.
Mark Ruffalo.
That's
Yeah.
the one I was trying to think of. Okay.
Hulk, Steve
What's Scarlett Johansson? I mean,
And
you can't forget Black Widow. I mean, that ass and those,
Mhm.
like, you know, come
See,
on.
now
now.
that I'm not
So,
on the spot,
But
I can think of
yeah,
like
so
Tom Holland.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you know, it gets
Yeah.
hard when you're on the spot.
One
And
of
then-
the X-Men. Pick an X-Men. I love the
Oh
X-Men.
yeah, that's right, Hugh Jackman.
There you
Technically
go.
Marvel. There you go. So yeah, and I mean that's
yeah,
the
'cause
thing.
that would. God,
So, and that now a fun one, now more of a show oriented type question. It's going to be name 3 places where you would not want to be caught masturbating.
wow. Okay.
Fucking anywhere. Definitely not like at a red carpet premiere on a red carpet. Probably not in the grocery store, unless and let's see, some or a really exclusive restaurant, like any expensive restaurant that I probably couldn't afford to go to.
And Jerry, what about you? What would you say? Where would you not want to be caught?
Your parents' house. I think that's number one.
That's a good answer.
Along the lines of what Jimmy was saying, I don't want to be, Pee Wee Herman and get caught in a movie theater,
Yes.
anything like that. And then probably bad to be like caught in your car, like if you were at at a red light or stoplight or something or other.
Like just aggressively masturbating, and now this is probably where the shit goes really fucking strange. Like, all right, Matt,
let's say no. at a precinct, you don't want to be caught in front of the precinct.
Yeah. You just got arrested and you're just hammering it out in the holding cell.
Like anywhere wouldn't be good getting caught masturbating if you think about it. I don't want to be caught. I've been caught masturbating before, and by my wife, and it's awkward. It's been awkward since
my wife hasn't caught me, but she has gone, "What's this on the shower curtain?" And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like that wasn't me. So
like doing communion or at a wedding or something wouldn't be good either.
Also an elementary school. You do not want to be caught.
No, you're in trouble. You're going to jail.
Or a beach. You're in the middle of a beach. You're just sitting there or it's one of those things like, you know how people get buried in the sand? Could you imagine like you could masturbate underneath the sand and no one would know what was going on. It probably would not be pleasant. But you could totally do it. It could totally happen. Now, Jimmy, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to incoherent. So have you ever heard of incoherent?
No, tell me. I mean, I know what the word means.
So pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to hold up. I got a couple of cards here, and each one is going to be in a drunken lingo. And you need to try to sound out the card. There's 2 hints on the back. And pretty much you need to tell us what that card says, what the quote is, or what the person's name or whatever is on the card. And if you can't see it, I can pin myself to where it comes up bigger. But that
agency. It says Jenner agency. Jenner agency.
He's totally saying it, but not realizing he's saying it.
Jenner agency.
One of the hints is up and coming.
So I'm supposed to come up with something out of the actual word that's there, or that's supposed to mean something that I'm supposed to like. It's Kylie Jenner's pussy or something.
No. It's an actual term.
Oh, it's an actual term. Generation.
Generation is one. You got the first part. So you got generation.
Generation C. Generation. Side generation, what is it called? Generation X? No.
Oh, you're so close.
Generation Y. Generation.
Here's the other hint. Let's raise a toast to the group.
X, Y, and the next one.
Generation Z.
Generation Z. It is Generation Z. All right. So here's the next one right there. What do you think that is?
Maggot train. No, maggot rain. Make it rain.
Yes. All right. Good stuff.
I was going to go with maggots, Michael. You're eating maggots, since I knew he was in Lost Boys, and I love that movie.
And what's funny is the hints. The hints was good weather and tossing ones in the air like you just don't care. And then here's the next one right here. What do you think that is?
That's so
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
Yes, that was fantastic.
And then the last one is this one.
Toggled hurt heat whom he toggled hurt heat whom me toggled hurt heat whom me. I don't know who the to me toggled.
One of the hints is naughty language.
What does it say it again?
Naughty language.
Toggled hurt heat.
It's also a song.
I don't know this one. Toggled hurt heat whom me. See if they know. I don't know that one.
What about you, Jerry? You have any idea?
Can you see it, Jerry?
Yeah, I can see it.
Toggles.
What did you say? What were the clues?
One is naughty language, and the second is words speak louder than actions.
Words speak louder than actions.
And it's a song. They said it's a song.
I think, what was it? Justin Timberlake, I think, did the song,
Well, I
maybe?
can't say the. I don't think.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
So
All right. It is Talk Dirty to Me.
that's
Talk, and then what? And then we also have What Do You Mean? Have you ever played What Do You Mean?
I haven't, but that's okay because I.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up a picture, a typical meme picture, and Jimmy, what you're going to do is you are going to meme that photo. So pretty much, I'm going to hold that up right there. If you were to see that, generate a meme, what would you generate? What would your meme be for that card?
Holy shit! I just fucking copped a feel on mommy's boob.
What about you, Jerry? Anything come to mind when you see that?
Oh man, let me see.
All right,
That look on that kid's face is borderline. You're not my daddy.
Oh, so looking at it, Matt, what do you think?
I farted so hard that I shit myself, and I'm not going to tell
What-
anyone.
When I look at this, when I picked this up earlier, the first thing I thought was when she buys new lingerie, you know you're going to smash that ass later. And then, of course, we end our Ode to Humanity segment with Cards Against Humanity. So, have you ever played Cards Against Humanity?
I played it once a long time ago.
So we do it a little bit differently on the show. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read you off the face card. And then you're going to randomly pick the answer. So I'm going to read off the face card, and then you're going to give us a number between 1 and 4. That's going to answer that card. If you're not satisfied with it, you get one rebuttal to answer that card. So pretty much the first card is, after months of debate, the Occupy Wall Street General Assembly could only agree more blank. What do you think? 1, 2, 3, or 4 that would randomly answer that?
3.
3. All right. So let's see. 3. All right. So after months of debate, the Occupy Wall Street General Assembly could only agree on more, a basketball that screams every time it gets bounced. Are you satisfied with that?
That's a shitty one. Let's do another one.
All right. So 3 is out. So what else?
So let's do 1 then.
1. All right. So 1. All right. So after months of debate, the Occupy Wall Street General Assembly could only agree on more, some kind of Birdman. And that's going to be the one that answered that. Now let's see which ones were left. The ones that were left was seeing my village burned and my family slaughtered before my eyes.
That would have been a better
Driving
one.
to a Walmart parking lot and staring into the distance for 8 hours.
While I was masturbating.
There you go.
Wait, I think Matt's done that last one before on a regular basis.
And then the other one is actually a 2-answer card. So pretty much this next one is step 1, blank. Step 2, blank. Step 3, profit. So you have choice. You can choose 2 numbers between 1 and 7.
Okay, let's do 2 and 5.
2 and 5. Sorry. So 2 and 5.
Good South Park reference there.
So 2 and 5. So let's see. So pretty much step 1, Britney Spears at 55. Step 2, a good, clean Christian comedy. Step 3, profit. Are you satisfied with that? Or do you want to do another round? Or are there any of those you want to keep out of those 2 and choose another?
I like the Britney Spears one, but I don't like the second one.
Okay, so we will keep Britney Spears. So what
Second
other
one needs to say sell her naked pussy or something. Because then I would get a profit.
Now what number would you want? Of course, 3 and 4.
Didn't I use 2 and 5? So let's use 4.
4. All right. So here's 4 right here. So here's 4. All right. So step 1, Britney Spears at 55. Step 2, the Amish. Step 3, profit.
That one actually works though. That could work.
I could see a profit.
I would watch a Britney Spears and the Amish sex tape. I mean, I would.
The lost sex tape.
She just sits there and looks at the Amish and goes, "Hit me, baby, one more time." That's just.
She's going to be making sex tapes soon. Now that she's got rid of her father, she's going to totally already. If you watch her Instagram, she's like, half naked pictures and all kinds of shit on there. She's going to be she's going to be doing all kinds of shit. Pretty soon, there's going to be like a Las Vegas sex show with her.
Well, it's funny. My wife,
I don't blame her.
My wife makes fun of me all the time because I was a huge Britney Spears fan when I was younger, and so I wore myself out with Britney. That's just That's and of
What
course,
did you wear yourself out?
And of
with
course,
Britney?
Jimmy, you asked us earlier about the horror stuff. What's your go-to horror?
The Lost Boys is my favorite movie, like, of all time. I've probably seen it like 20,000 times. I have a lot of other films that I like a lot. I like anything with Lance Henriksen, just because I'm a big Lance Henriksen fan. But I think that, I like the Phantasm series a lot. I'm friends with Phantasm was great. I love it. I'm friends with Michael Baldwin, and I used to be friends with the guy who played the tall man. I forgot his name.
Angus Scrimm.
He's passed away now. But other than that, I think probably, I don't know. I really like the Hellraiser movies like a lot, just because I'm friends with everybody in them. I guess that helped, always change. But the Lost Boys is my number one go-to movie.
There it is. That's it.
What do Double J, Jerry, and Jimmy think of the casting of a female Pinhead?
I think it's fucking terrible. I'm not looking forward to it at all. I don't like it at all. I don't even think they should really even be remaking it in the first place. There's so many writers in Hollywood who could write new stuff. I think that, like, I didn't like the Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I'm not a big remake person. I think that there's so many writers who could write new stuff, but nobody wants to take a chance on them. And I think it would be better to do new stuff. But I think that I don't think a female Pinhead though works at all. Like, maybe I'm just too concerned. I don't know. I'm old. Maybe just because I'm old.
No. So this is perfect. So so we go remakes you don't like. So we all can agree we hated the all-female cast of the Ghostbusters remake. But new stuff. What do you think of this new Ghostbusters that's coming out? That's not really. It's kind of it's new. It's got young kids. It's a different take. What do you think of this, Jimmy? You looking forward to it or no?
I'm not super looking forward to it. I'll wait and see how the reviews go, probably, to see it. But I think I'm just kind of like done with all the remake stuff, even though I will have to say that because I'm a big Chucky fan and I'm friends with like all the Chucky people. I haven't watched the new Chucky yet, but I heard that it's pretty good. And I'll probably watch the new Scream too. Or was it Scream, or I Know What You Did Last Summer? One of those.
Yeah, they're doing a new Scream.
Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah, so I like them, but in general, I would prefer to see new, stuff. Like one of the coolest horror movies I thought ever was, I think it's called Orphan.
Yeah, I know.
The one with the little girl. That's the one where the little girl gets adopted over, but she's really like a 30-year-old lady who doesn't know. Like, what a great movie.
I saw that. When I felt like the big reveal in that movie when she was taking out her teeth and all this stuff, and she was like a 34-year-old woman, I was like, what? And that's actually based off of a true story.
Yeah, shit's crazy.
I was like, what?
Crazy. Yeah. And also some of the stuff based off of what is it? I can't remember the names, but the two paranormal investigators that Annabelle and all that were based off. Any of the stuff out of their stories.
Their stories are good. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. That shit creeps me out too much. I don't watch this.
See, that's the thing. Like, I grew up with slashers, and I mean, I think we've pretty much established the point. And Jimmy and Jerry, you guys may agree or disagree, but I feel like that Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy, they've all transcended. They've all transcended into the Wolfman, Dracula, and Frankenstein of this generation.
Yeah.
Like a lot of older people remember Wolfman, the Mummy, all that stuff. Our generation has Michael Myers, Jason. They're always going to be profitable. They're always going to make money. Until the franchises stop making money, they're going to stop making the movies. And, that's the whole thing. I mean, do you guys feel like that's kind of the same thing, that they've kind of taken that torch of those old school horror icons and ran with it?
Yeah, I think so. I also think, though, there's a new one out now. A very good friend of mine, it's his film. The first one was called Blind. It's on Amazon Prime, and I think it's on Tubi and stuff right now. It's a very good story made on a super minuscule budget, like the smallest budget you could ever meet. But they have so the character's name is Pretty Boy. Actually, we had the cast on because now they have a sequel to it called Pretty Boy that's coming out now. It'll come out at the first quarter of next year, but it's doing all the film festivals now. It's got a great cast. The first one was really, really good. And basically the premise of it is it's about this actress who goes to have laser surgery and she becomes blind. It doesn't work, so she can't be an actress anymore, and she lives in the Hollywood Hills, and she's got this stalker fan who's the little deformed called Pretty Boy, who lives in her basement, but she doesn't know it because she's blind, and he like walks around the house when she's doing stuff and kills all her friends. And now the sequel takes place right when the first one ends. We just went to the red carpet for it not too long ago. But it's got action. It's going to have action figures. It's got VHS tapes and all kinds of stuff that they're coming out with it. I think it will be part of the generation of like now the newer generation, not my generation because I'm old, but I think it'll be like the next one of something, because I think they'll make a lot of them. They're done very, very well, especially for the budgets that that you're talking about that they're making them with.
Do you know a movie that I particularly liked? It came out on Netflix. Is Terrifier. I think that's kind of like the old school kind of slasher / throw blood at it. And one of our other co-hosts, Mike, he's not here tonight.
With the clown? And
yes.
Yeah,
and he did the whole time. And that's the whole thing. And like our other co-host, Mike, who's not here tonight, he was telling me for the longest time, dude, you got to watch Terrifier. You got to watch Terrifier. And then eventually I watched Terrifier. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, there's a death sequence in that where he uses a hacksaw. And I was just kind of like, holy fucking shit. When I watched that scene.
I told you I wasn't going to watch it, but I think you sent me that particular scene. And I was like,
it's one of those types of scenes where you don't know if you're horrified or aroused, like kind of all at the same time. And you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. What's happening right now? Like, what do I want to do? Do I
find out something about yourself?
You kind of like, it's almost like, seeing a tragic accident on the side of the highway. You're just kind of like, do I watch this burn or do I just keep on, driving in my car? Like, and of course, for the audio version of this, we're starting to run a little bit short on time. Jimmy, of course, where can everybody find you? Where can they find your stuff? Where can they see, any of the extra, scenes that you've done, find your podcast and all that fun stuff?
The best place to go is my blog. It's jimmystarsworld.com. It has everything on it pretty much, so you can find everything there. And then my social media, I'm on Facebook as Star Jimmy because I got hacked not too long ago, so I had to change everything. So I'm Star Jimmy on Facebook. I'm Jimmy Star Official on Instagram, and I'm Dr. Jimmy Star on Twitter. It used to be Dr. Jimmy Star and everything, but my Twitter, my Facebook, and my Instagram got hacked and held for rent. And so I lost them. But and I'm really trying to build up my Instagram. So if you guys follow me on Jimmy Star Official and send me a message that you heard me on this podcast, and I'll make sure I follow back.
Nice.
Awesome. And Jerry, with us pretty much closing in a couple of minutes, is there anything else you would like to ask Jimmy before we let him roll out of here or anything like that?
Well, we were talking horror, I want and newer stuff. So and Jimmy's done so much stuff with the original Walking Dead. So Greg Nicotero's Creep Show. Curious what you think about it.
Okay, you know what? I haven't seen it, even though I have tons of friends that are in it that have been in different episodes. I have not actually seen it. I don't even know. Where do you see it? It's on Shudder or something, right? Is that?
It's on, it could be. It's on AMC, and I think the second season just wrapped up with one I watched the other night, and so they've teased a third season. So I mean, it's doing well enough for that. But
I'm gonna totally watch it if it's on AMC. I'll totally watch it. I actually know I met Greg Nicotero at a convention in Florida many years ago. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. So I will watch it. I was a big Walking Dead fan. I don't know that I've watched like the last 2 seasons, probably just because it gets after a while it gets old.
6. Yeah, I don't know what happened past 6, but I feel like 3, 4, and 5 were the prime of that show. And what sucks is Angela Kang brought the show back in 9. Season 9, like the way she wrote that and wrote Rick's exit, the way all that stuff happened, season 9 was so great. And I saw parts of season 10, and I haven't seen any of 11 because we just recently ditched cable. So I'm going to wait for it all to hit Netflix or whatever, and just blow through that. But it's crazy. Like I'm kind of glad to see that it's ending, but also it means that Rick's going to come back. And for me, like the show can't be the show without Rick Grimes. I always looked at The Walking Dead as not a story of people trying to survive, but it's the story of Rick Grimes. And
I agree with you with that. I also, though, when they killed Glenn, it kind of like wrecked it for me because Glenn was like one of my favorite characters. And when they killed the old guy who had his leg chopped off, what's it like?
Herschel.
Herschel. When they killed Herschel, which now he died anyway, so you couldn't be on there anyway. But I really like all the original people from the first couple of seasons, and they started bringing it on. And I'm friends with a whole bunch. Like Lou Temple was on our show. and he was in The Walking Dead, and the guy who plays the gay guy, I forgot his name, but he was on our show.
Oh yeah.
The guy with the one who's got the metal thing on his hand, but I just didn't get into
Aaron.
it as much
Yeah.
as Aaron. Yeah, Aaron. And I've never watched like the other one. What's the spinoff of The Walking Dead?
There's two of them. There's Fear the Walking Dead, which is like, and then there's The World Beyond, which is the newer, shorter one with it's like 10 years in the future. It's all about the kids. I gotta tell you, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I cannot handle that World Beyond stuff, and I am like mightily struggling to get through it just because they're promising some tie-in about, that there could be connection with Rick and how he got picked up by the CMR and all, but and then even Fear has gotten a little bad. And I love Morgan's character. They brought him over from the original Walking Dead, and I love Morgan's character, but no, the mothership was it for me. And I don't know, but I would love to see if you got Greg Nicotero on your show. If you haven't had him on, Jimmy, if you got him on, I think that'd be good. You two talking.
Oh yeah. I actually have his email. I could reach out to him and see.
That would be awesome.
I've only met him once, so it's not like we're like super friendly. But I actually gave him a shirt, like when we did it. And so it was kind of like fun. And that's kind of like how I built my whole show, is like, that's how I got the really big people right off the bat, was because of that whole clothing thing. But I think nowadays, I think you guys have a fun show. Our show's not like everybody else's either, because my husband's 80. He's my co-host. He's totally politically incorrect. Yeah. He talks about boobs. He talks about boobs and like, who hit on you while you're on set and stuff like that. So people love it.
I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, it's all about having fun. Like literally, like I went off of a couple of notes and that's it. It's just shoot the shit. And
people like that though. Your show will be successful because of that, because it's not like everybody else just asks a question and gets an answer. It gets kind of old because it just gets old if you don't have something fun to put with it. Right. So I think that you'll do. I think the show will do really well. I know you have Sadie Katz coming on, and Sadie Katz is like one of my dearest friends, one of my best friends in the world, and I'm doing a big film with her. So have her tell you about the film that we're doing with Testament, the heavy metal, the thrash metal band.
Awesome. That should be really fucking fun. That sounds awesome just within itself. And of course, Jerry, our special guest co-host tonight from the Share A Pint Podcast. Jerry, where can everybody find your stuff, man?
Well, we're on YouTube at Share A Pint. Those are the video versions of our episodes, which are I think they're pretty engaging. They're pretty good. They're not just sitting around talking. There's a lot of B-roll and stuff that really enhances what the guests are talking about. Audio, you can find us on any podcast platform you look for, as well as shareapintpodcast.com. And we don't do all the various social medias. We just do Twitter. And I get a lot of crap for not having Instagram and Facebook. But last week when both of them went down for almost a day and the world almost ended, I was smiling and laughing my ass off on Twitter.
Twitter was like, let's see what's going on out there.
Yeah. I'm sitting there at share_pint on Twitter going, yeah, I'm good. I don't know about you. I'm good.
What is it again?
Share_pint. Yep.
I'll look for you guys and follow.
And Jimmy, I can send it to you as well if you want. And what we're going to do is that's going to go ahead and conclude our audio episode. Of course, the next time you guys will hear us will be our episode with Sadie Katz. For those of you watching us live, that will be tomorrow at 4:00 p.m. Eastern, 1:00 p.m. Central. And for those of you listening on all of our audio outlets, that will be our very next episode released simultaneously right after Jimmy's. Jimmy's is going to come first, and then Sadie's going to be right after that. Of course, Jerry, thank you for joining us. Jimmy as well, thank you for joining us. And Jimmy, if we can just have you hang out for 1 second after we stop the live stream, that would be great. Of course, thank you for tuning into the Happy Hour Podcast. I'm Ray.
And they're in an old firehouse. And so it was, they're like, hey, we had Patsy Cline play here and Duke Ellington and Bob Seger. And they've got a resident ghost. So they're telling a ghost story. And I was like, dude, where are you going to get this somewhere else? This is, if you don't have to like craft beer, but who doesn't like a good ghost story, So
that's very cool.
And I didn't even notice that the chat blew up, because I'm getting used to the whole YouTube live stuff. I'm used to Facebook Live, and there are so many comments here on the chat. Randy Edelman, he tuned in and it said, hey, you guys, it's me, not Randy from the real.
That's Eileen. That means it's Eileen. That's Eileen coming in as Randy.
Yeah. And it says, hi, Eileen. And then, of course, hey, Angela. Man, and I did see on this, some of the people did comment on where you would not want to masturbate. Someone said a church, a grocery store, or near a school. And then someone said that was an epic kill. So I forgot what epic kill was for, but yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of people.
They're probably talking about when he mentioned that Greg got, that when he killed Glenn, and
oh yeah, when he killed Glenn,
that was pretty epic. But yeah, see, what you gotta do is we got to put Matt on that, right? Matt's got to be on the chat, and he's just got to be scanning it. And when good stuff pops up, he just jumps in on you and goes, dude.
Yeah. And of course, Jimmy, I know you're going to get ready to go to dinner and all that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and let you get out of here. I definitely would like to have you back in the future. I definitely want to do a whole dedicated episode where maybe we talk horror and you show us a lot of the stuff that you have in your horror stuff. Because
that would be great.
I'm super intrigued. I'm a super huge horror and pop culture fan myself. We incorporate a lot of that into the show.
You would literally love you would really love my office. You will, because everything's like, and all my shit's like autographed just about.
Oh, nice.
Like I have here, hold on. I have these skulls. I used to take these skulls whenever I went to a horror convention. I wanted to have something, and every single person that was at the convention would sign the skull. And so
nice.
like I got everybody like on this thing. G. Tom Mack, Billy Wirth, that's Brooke McCarter. That's all Lost Boys people. But anyway, there's like 100 different people who signed it. And I used to have a bunch of them, but I needed money. I sold some of them on eBay. But like, if you ever go to a convention, this is a great way to like have a memorabilia. Because like, what do you want with a signed autograph picture? Like, fuck, that's like, who cares? You want a picture with the person, and then you want something that they've got. And so I have all kinds of cool things like that. And so this is on Zoom, right? Like, because I use StreamYard.
Do you really?
I don't know if you've ever used StreamYard, but StreamYard has the chat that you can see what they're saying right as you
okay.
And they also let you put on green screens behind you if you want to put a green screen of something behind you.
Nice.
And it does the chat thing, and it also, if you want it to be live, it'll send it to Twitter, Facebook, a whole bunch of places live at the same time, so everybody can see it.
We were trying around with something like that. I forgot what it was called. It was Riverside.
Was that Riverside?
Yeah, it was Riverside, but you needed to have Google Chrome in order to do Riverside. But you also,
you got to have Google Chrome to do it.
You kind of do it through mobile. And the first time there was just so much shit that had to go into it. I was like, screw it. I'm just sticking with Zoom for right now because it's easy. Just send a link, boom.
That is the thing, though. You do have to use Google Chrome for it. But people who have like iPhones and stuff, they just click the link and they can do it.
Okay. Cool.
But it is kind of cool because you can see the chat. What I do for my show, though, is I have one computer that we talk on, and then I have another computer on the side. Since there's two of us, I watch the chat I go on YouTube and watch it and make comments.
I can probably do that from my phone, honestly. Like that's what I used to do with Zoom, is I would watch from my phone because I've never actually watched the live. We started the live YouTube feed with Randy, but we haven't been doing just exclusively YouTube yet. Facebook, I kind of got a little, upset with Facebook, and I feel YouTube has more of a range. Like, it's a lot easier to go to YouTube and type it in on Google. It'll pop up on Google for YouTube Live than what it will for Facebook. So it's just more so just a trial and error type thing, just see how it works out.
How do you distribute it then? How do you distribute the podcast? Did you put it on like iTunes and all that stuff also?
Yeah. We're on every major platform. I noticed a lot. YouTube, I'm focusing a lot on YouTube because a lot of our adult film star stuff is just getting annihilated with views just on that kind of stuff on the YouTube part, because of course people want to see that. That's the thing. And I mean, I'm very animated. I as I said, I'm pro wrestling. I'm used to being in front of a camera. I'm used to doing things live. Like, I don't know how to run a podcast. I'll tell you to this day, I don't know how to do a podcast. I know from the TV show we used to did and just being in front of a camera, just how to do that kind of shit. And I'm like, hey, let's just do it.
What platform do you use to distribute it to, like iHeartRadio and all those different places?
I use Buzzsprout.
Okay.
Buzzsprout, it all uploads into that. And then, of course, the YouTube Live, which is helping me because, of course, this is the overrun. So for those of you still joining us on YouTube, welcome. This is our after party, as we like to call it. And, it made it a lot easier because what I would do is I would have to edit the bonus content. I have to edit the main episode. I would have to edit, the stuff afterwards. And I'm like, well, at least with this is just going to stay in its pure raw form on YouTube. And then the audio episode, I can, cut up, put in the ads, put in, all the other fun stuff and, a song here and there and do it for the audio form. YouTube, you know how it works. Once you get a certain amount of people, you can monetize. So that's why I'm putting a lot of focus on the YouTube as well of, hey, make sure you subscribe. It helps us out in the long run doing that. We did have Patreon, but it didn't really go too far. So I was like, let me focus right now on YouTube. And, as I said, I'm always honest. We don't have like, millions and millions of listens or, whatever. It's just us coming on, having a good time and say, hey, would you like to be on our show? If someone says no, okay, we'll just get on and just be idiots ourselves. Like, that's just the way it works. But no, I mean, honestly, man, I appreciate you coming on. And I really like the deepest gratitude to you and Aline for
absolutely
helping us out with guests. And, anybody you guys have, that you want to send our way, we will talk to anybody. I don't care.
All our guests are fun. Did you have Randy Edelman on? Did that go okay? He's our most difficult client. He's difficult. He's our most difficult one.
It was on, but he kind of like he kind of called us out on not knowing our research, because we were like, how we asked, hey, how'd you get into it, blah blah. And he's like, but and it's like he did it live, and I was just kind of like, well, I mean, dude, like some people might not know who you are, so that's just the whole thing. But really, it's up and down.
We had he's the only guest I've almost ever had a problem with, and we had a big problem with him when he came on our show. Because I wanted to my husband, is very outspoken. He's 80 years old, and I probably don't tell Eileen I'm telling you this, but the show's up. I mean, I don't think I put the video up because I only put the audio up because I was like, but I wanted to I always like to brag and give accolades for the guests of all the things they've done. And he goes, don't do that. I don't want to go and talk about all that old shit. And my husband went off on him. Don't fucking tell us how to run our show. You're the fucking guest and you're going to do it the way we want to do it. He's trying to build you up. Nobody knows who the fuck you are anyway. and it's all live, we have a lot of live people who listen live.
Yeah.
And then they made up. But by the end of the show, they got along great. But there was about a 5-minute thing going there where it was super fucking intense.
That's the way it was with us. And I remember at some point, and of course, I'm glad you said that was live because, of course, we're still streaming, with YouTube or whatever. But what he kind of asked, he's like, are we doing this live? And I was like, yeah. And I think after he kind of heard a little bit that we were live, he kind of calmed down a little bit. But he's one of really the only guests I've ever sent a message about. Like I sent Aline a message because I thought about it the next couple of days afterwards. And I was like, I don't mind, I know we're a smaller podcast or whatever and all that. But pretty much I felt it as just disrespect. It's like, well, I mean, if like the first thing that started off was he said right before we went live, he's like, let's get through this. I'm trying to watch a football game. And it's like, well, man, if we're inconveniencing you this much, we can just sit there and talk about our awful card game for like an hour and, have people laughing then, to do this. And it's like, I try to stay very, very humble and all that.
The thing that's funny about it is he really is the nicest guy on the planet. Yeah. He is so nice. And he's so talented. And when I say talented, I mean, he is like one of the most talented people on the planet as far as film and stuff. And so I think it was just unfortunate. And I think that,
I mean, you know what, it happens. And, Aline was like, hey, if you want, just don't air it. I'm like, you know what? I come from a profession with pro wrestling where you have good matches, you have bad matches, you have great matches, and you have shitty matches. And no matter what, I'm still proud of all that, and I'm still going to put it out for people to see it, regardless how good, how bad, whatever, because it's something that I did, it's a performance that I made. And I'm just kind of like that. I'm like, you know what? It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. People are either going to like it or they're not going to like it. If not, I'm going to do it regardless. So, that's
I've actually met him several times since we had him on the show. He really is a great guy. And I think, I think this is all kind of new to him. I don't think he's used to it.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like a new technology. And, before COVID, there was only 750,000 podcasts. Now there's 1.8.
Yeah, now there's 80,000. We started during COVID.
So many,
and I mean, that's the thing too. And, I never ever expect any guests to come on and, expect that we're, somebody. I mean, Christ, I never made a huge in pro wrestling. I was in the independent circuit. I got to do some cool things with that. But, it's the kind of thing that one thing we can at least say is that 95% of our guests that have came on the show said, hey, we've had a good time. and never really said anything bad about the show or said, hey, that's different. That's not like, most of the podcasts that we do. So that's one thing that I always
try Jasmine St. Clair. Reach out to Jasmine St. Clair.
Yes, because she did the adult film stuff, and also she's an actress. So and she does.
I don't really know her. We follow each other on social media, but I heard she's really nice, and so she would be a good one. And I don't know, but you can see who I've had on my show. If I can introduce them and see if they're fun. I can see if you can get them on the show, because we bring on my clients, but I have to bring on a lot of other people too. Because for me, it's all about star power. I got to have the stars to keep the people interested.
Yeah, I'm more so. Let's go. Let's us be ourselves. We kind of a little bit monitor our guests. If it's someone that we're just kind of like, well, we can't go to balls to the wall and say anything too crazy because I don't want to have them go, what the fuck did I just come on? But I remember Dee Wallace, and this didn't air when we were done. She's like, you guys are some crazy motherfuckers. And we were just kind of like, that's great. That, afterwards, Dee Wallace.
That's a good way to know that, though. And no, I think that's a good reputation to have, though, because we're kind of like that too. We're the show with the fucking guy who is totally unfiltered, says everything incorrect because he's 80 years old and we live in a different world than he grew up in. And so, but I think that's part of our appeal, is that, you never know. And I make sure we get all the business stuff in that people want to talk about it. But he's so who are you, Sleep? We had John Barrowman on. I don't know if you know who John Barrowman is, but John Barrowman was Doctor Who. He was I don't know, he's a major character in Doctor Who, and they gave him his own show, Torchwood, and he's on Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know. He was the bad guy in Arrow and the Dark Archer in Arrow. Anyway, he's a big star, and he came on, and as soon as he came on, he had a blow up doll, and he was making out with the blow up doll right when we went live, and then and then we're talking to him, and my husband is like, oh, so you're good looking, you can sing, you're a great actor, everybody knows you, you must have a little dick. And he's like, no, actually, I got a big dick too, and so so our conversations, sometimes are not super kosher for a lot of people, but that's why people like it, because it's not.
The transgender.
Kimber Haven.
Yeah,
Kimber Haven. Yeah,
she was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. And she busted our balls, but in a fun way, because she was transgender. So she's like, "Oh, you guys don't have your what did she say?"
She's talking about her Raptors or trucks and her small dicks.
But she was also like we weren't really too sure. We were kind of on the line of, well, we don't want to say anything that'll offend you. So she's kind of like, oh, you're not up on your pronouns. But she was fucking with us while she was doing it. And she's like, no. You guys are good. Yeah. She's like, I don't care. Blah, blah, blah.
Really always fun if the people can go with you,
Right.
Yeah. The thing I hate the most is if you ask them a question and they give you a fucking one-word answer and you're like, holy shit, you're a fucking professional in the limelight. You can't fucking come up with more than one fucking, one word answer. But the people who can play back with you, you say something, and then they play back with you. That's the fun. That's what really, those are our shows that have done the best. That's why our John Barrowman episode got 10 million plays. Which is our biggest episode, ever. And then I've had people come on that you think are going to be really big, and they get 100,000 plays. They don't get plays that you think they're going to get.
Sherry did very well when she came on. Sherry Nelson.
Sherry Nelson has a huge following, and Sherry Nelson is beautiful, and she's literally one of the nicest people you will ever meet in your life. She's genuinely nice. It's not a put on. That's really how she is.
A shirt made up. She got a Happy Hour podcast shirt made up before she came on the show, and I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Yeah. We've never had anybody do that.
Yeah. She's really fabulous. But anyway, you guys, I gotta go because my husband's gonna start.
Right. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate being on the show, you guys. Anything I can do to help, let me know, and we'll talk soon.
If you're ever free, you want to co-host or something, let us know, because we're all about having fun, man. So shoot me your address. I'll send you a shirt of some kind.
Okay, no problem. Oh, actually, do I even have your email? You send.
You can probably get it from Aline, or I'll send it to you.
I'll get it.
So.
Okay, perfect.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, Jimmy, you too, buddy. Thanks so much.
All right, bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you.
So, all right, Jerry, man. Again, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
You know how we roll. And Matt said, Matt's still regretting the day that he couldn't go to Hysteria because he's like, man,
dude, you picked a wrong day to not go. Then we went down to Lost Ark Distillery, and I think I had my first bourbon ever. And Ty's like, I'm buying you guys bourbon and something. And I was like, I got friends that are really into bourbon and all that stuff. And I'm like, I keep telling them like, you got to teach me, this, blah blah. I got to learn and blah blah. They haven't done shit for years and years and years. We get done, and Ty's like, we're going over, we're doing it. And I'm like, well, I'm not waiting. I guess we're having some smoked bourbon old fashioned today.
And what's funny is, have you been to Charm City Mead Works?
I've not been, but they are working with me. I'm trying to get them on the show. And this is good for you guys to know. We're going to do a Twitter space event on this Monday at 7:00. And we're going to try to make it fairly regular. And so we've been blowing it up, starting to put stuff out there. But I think the first one, we're just going to talk about, how do you navigate, COVID and having events back in the tap room now? So it's going to be, people are still worried about the pandemic. It's still enough an issue, but how are we having like trivia night, comedy, live music? How do you do that? How do you navigate that safely? So we're going to have an open forum at 7:00 this Monday to just talk about it, and everybody's welcome, and we'll see how it goes, and maybe we'll keep doing stuff with them.
All right, cool. So everybody out there in the YouTube universe that's still watching us live, definitely check that out. Of course, we're going to be back again tomorrow, 4:00 p.m. Eastern, 1:00 p.m. Pacific time with Sadie Katz. That's going to be awesome. And of course, make sure you check out the Share A Pint podcast. Jerry, awesome. Speaking of Baltimore Mead Works, we actually reached out to them. They want us to come out and do something with them in the future too. So that should be good. Our good friend, Steve Freeman, who does all of our logo work, who did that amazing Halloween shirt. He wants us to come out to Marsky Bar. Marsky Bar wants us to come out and do an episode there. So, Jerry, if you want to come out for that, feel free. I think that's going to be November 27th. I think they're aiming for. He's going to have a lot of his art on display, and might try to get a hold of Bob Starr, Vince Painter, all of our good friends of the show that are local, have them come out as well. Kind of like what we did with our anniversary stuff, but we're going to try to, not mess around with the actual inside audio. We're just going to set up our mic and just, do our thing or whatever and all that. But anyways, Jerry, we're going to go ahead and roll. For everybody watching, thank you for joining us. It's going to be the same thing tomorrow. We're going to come at you, have a little bit of an extended episode on YouTube. And I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it, man. We got to do this again soon.
You bet, Ray. Thanks so much.